Hail and well met. Welcome to the latest episode of the Westgate Irregulars, brought to you by the Dungeon Scrawlers. Here we are in the lovely Chaldea Studios, sponsored and hosted by Gen Con, and we are going to bring to you the second arc of our campaign with this first episode, which is called Echoes. But before we get to all that, we want to tell you about our special sponsor, and Aaron M. Evans is going to tell us about them.
Thank you, Eric. So we're sponsored by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is a strategy game that unites iconic Dungeons & Dragons characters from novels, campaigns, and popular shows into one epic adventure, including Farida and now Havilar from the Brimstone Angels series, which I wrote. The game is available for PC and Mac on Steam and web, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, iPad, iPhone, and on all Android devices. For more information, check out idlechampions.com.
Cool. Nice.
And if you're looking for the code, just type in !, we love code name, all lowercase, all one word.
And thank you for that, Yang Yang Wang. Also, Yang Yang is going to tell us about some cool functionality that we've been doing with the stream recently.
So we have like a little bee in the right side of the screen.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, and if you just float your mouse cursor over it, it should pop up a screen with all of our characters. It'll be on 2 separate pages. You can use the little lock icon to lock it in and navigate and take a look at our character sheets. However, this is only available for browsers and not mobile or consoles, unfortunately. Maybe one day, yell at Twitch, don't yell at us. Thanks.
I did notice that Sturge has not updated his hit points, so, bear that in mind.
I tried, but I am Amish, so.
And on that note, we're going to go over to Randy, who's going to tell us something. We're not going to go over to Randy because, okay, we're going to go over to Randy for a second.
Okay, yeah. So, I was just going to say, a lot of people were asking about merch.
There we go.
Especially Jiggle Jiggle Bounce merch. But, just an update. We've put together some cool designs we think you're going to like, and we're building out our store. We're testing it. We're getting everything ready. So, we'll be giving you the good news soon on when that's available.
Fantastic. Thank you, Randy. And so, we go once again to the dark streets of Westgate. In fact, unlike most overcast, rainy, and cold days of Westgate, the day dawns bright and optimistic, and the Westgate Irregulars have decided to meet for brunch at Briar House, which is the house that Artemisia rents. She doesn't actually own it, and allows certain of the irregulars to live there as well, if they pay their rent on time. Yeah. I think in this case, we're going to start with Artemisia, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to have each player tell us a little bit about what has transpired from their point of view, where they are now, what they're looking forward to, suspicions that they have, curiosities that they have, intrigues a-brewing. Take it away, Rhiannon.
Okay. I'm Rhiannon Held. I'm a professional archaeologist and also an author of the Silver series, Urban Fantasy, writing some space opera now too. Not out yet. And Artemisia, over the past several episodes, has been very worried because Illyra, who was falsely accused of the deaths that we were chasing the killer, what is her boss, because her not a day job. Artemisia is noble enough that she doesn't have a job, but she does work at Illyra's boutique, design work, making sure that all runs well. And also, Artemisia is a little bit worried because in the course of catching the killer, she had borrowed the carriage from her strictly casual lover, Lilton Darden, and seeing as she was seen getting out of it, she leaned into it, and so she was walking around as Lady Darden. So we'll see if that gets back to him.
All right, and so Artemisia is hosting this brunch at Briar House. What sort of preparations have you been making for everyone to arrive? Well, I'm going to have people arrive in the order that they introduce themselves.
Obviously, she has to give good directions to the servants. because, that's not the sort of thing one does oneself. But she, in the dining room, has directed the servants to lay out an excellent spread of food. And of course, herself, she is impeccably dressed. Doesn't matter that it's in the morning. Hair, clothes, all perfect. As anybody who also lives in the house will also see her. If she's ever outside of her room, she is perfectly turned out. And I dare say that by now, all the food is out and ready and waiting. So just for people to arrive.
So, who was the first person to arrive?
Well, I live there.
Rogar is the first person to arrive.
Hi, Randy Henderson, author of the Fin Fancy trilogy from Tor and Titan. I play Rogar Battlebaron. He's a dwarf cleric of Sharindlar, goddess of life and love. He was brought to Westgate by a dream that told him he must defend the western gate against and all of life against the mysterious threat of the Bogglewomps. Whatever a Bogglewomp is, we don't know. So, and so he's right now down in the basement, which is kindly rented to him by Artemisia, and sitting on the old couch that she kindly moved down there for him to sleep on and sit on.
Very clean couch.
It's a very nice. It's little. I don't know. It's a settee or a divan. I don't know what the humans call it, but I call it a couch. And I'm sitting on the very edge of it, kind of, in my mithril plate armor. I've taken off my hat because I'm inside, so my warhammer is on the ground down below, so it doesn't mark up the furniture. Not because I need something to put my feet on so they don't dingle like a wee bear. No, not at all. And my braids are flowing. I got my great braided beard and my beautiful crimson tabard with the symbol of Sharindlar blends in beautifully with the red velvet of the couch. Look, quite the striking figure. And then, but right now I'm sitting there. And I have this great sword across my knees, and it's a sword that came to me recently. It was wielded by this lad Retagast, a paladin, quite handsome young lad, and I'm struggling. I'm thinking through some things. So I'm just going to step out 1 second, give some context. Rogar was raised in a temple that's very conservative, fundamentalist of Sharindlar, the Temple of Life, and was very indoctrinated and very much pounded into him what was sort of the will of Sharindlar according to them, and the overriding need to put forth a view that supports the repopulation of the Dwarven peoples. The Rift Dwarves were decimated by the collapse of the Great Rift and then the return. So he's kind of a little. He was very much raised in a love the sinner, hate the sin kind of effed up environment. So anyway, so Rogar is sitting on the edge of the couch, and he's looking at this sword, and contemplating. He felt he when he received it, he had this great connection with Sharindlar, this great moment of light and love. But he's not sure what it all meant. He felt these other connections, and he figured it was a blessing to try to destroy the Kiss of Death killer, who was an enemy of life. And he feels that's why Sharindlar came to him in that moment. But now he's questioning things, and so I try to touch the sword and the symbol of Sharindlar that has appeared on the hilt. And I reach out for Sharindlar's light again, try to get some guidance, some sense from her.
I'm going to need you to make a wisdom check, please.
All right.
He is communing with the sword.
Communing with the sword. That's a 20.
Aha! All right.
Nice communion.
Golden light licks upon the crafted steel of the sword.
Okay.
And you feel Sharindlar's radiance falling upon your face, even though you are underground and there are no windows. And there's only 2 exits, one into the house and one into the sewer where the sleep rats live.
Right. A scary room.
But the world contracts around you, and you feel this light. And you feel a faint, ghostly hand touching your hand. And then, of a sudden, the light vanishes as though a cloud has passed across the sun, and you are surrounded by shadows of squamous things out of the darkness that you cannot truly see, but know what they are, for they are
The Bogglewumps.
the Bogglewumps.
I recognize it from my vision. Okay.
And you draw your hands away as if in shock, and the vision ends, and the light flickers out of the sword.
All right. Aye.
So you did successfully commune with it, but there's still some tension there, some kind of block.
Right.
And then you hear ahem, a very long-suffering voice from up above. Brunch, and you
Excellent.
recognize Varys calling you to brunch.
Okay. I do want to clarify that as the light was going, I can still sense Sharanlar's grace as a
can.
clearic,
Yes.
but I sense a kind of sadness to it, and that it's there, but it's sort of on the outside of the Bogglewump shadows. Aye.
Indeed.
Okay.
Ahem, Varys calls again.
Right. Right. Oh, I could use some scran. Let's go.
So you gather up your things and you start heading upstairs in time to see somebody appearing in the entryway. Who is it? Caleb. Caleb, very tenuously showing up on the porch. Tell us about yourself and about Caleb's situation.
So, hi, I'm Emily Tang. I'm a game designer at Wizards of the Coast. Disclaimer, all thoughts and opinions expressed in the stream are my own and do not represent Wizards of the Coast. And I am playing Caleb Amakir, an Avarial Blade Singer who's a little more interested in necromancy than she really should be. And it has led her into this association with Aiden Lath, who actually turns out to be Aiden Vamos. Which she is really not sure how she feels about that, because it's sort of like, finding out your friend hates cats or something. You have to reevaluate that, figure out if you really want that to continue or not.
Oh, dating red flag for sure.
Yeah.
Indeed. So your thoughts are drawn to the brooch in your pouch.
Yep. She
Which you have kept.
Yep. She has kept the brooch that she kind of snatched away from him, and she's really conflicted, and she's just trying. She just needs time by away from him to figure out, how she feels about this, and whether she wants to continue pursuing this friendship that may or may not be romantic with him.
Excellent. And what brings you to the porch of the Briar House this day, other than the fact that everyone's gathering here for brunch?
Well, I mean, yeah, she heard there's brunch.
Excellent.
Also, she
you
has
have
some rent to pay.
Excellent. That was going to be my next question.
If it will be accepted. Can I come in?
Yes.
Yes, the door opens. There's Artemisia, and she seems happy to see her. Yeah.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Come in.
Here you go.
Thank you.
It is a clear day in Westgate. It's still very cold, but it's not raining or snowing. It is as though spring has come early, even though it is still
On a clear
winter.
day in Westgate. Let's break into a musical. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, and you see Rogar coming up the stairs from the basement. And then you hear...
How's it going?
Oh, Kayla. Good to see you.
Excellent. And someone else is going to arrive. Who is it going to be? Now, I want to note that we have been delaying introducing Tsetseliya, even though she is in a room upstairs, I imagine.
Yeah, you keep saying the door, and I keep going, well, that's not me.
Well, it could be the door upstairs, too.
That's true. It
So-
could be me.
Or if you're coming back from a night of shame.
No, that's Artemisia.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. No, should I go?
Sure.
I wrote a thing, so I'm going to end up reading some of it. But hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angel Saga, which is set in the Forgotten Realms. I play Tsetseliya, who is a half-elf, not a warlock. She just happens to... She's a masked witch from far off Rashomon, who happens to have some powerful friends, that's all. So originally she came to Westgate with her half-sister Artemisia, looking for adventure. And so far as she's concerned, her past is in her past. Except right now, part of her past has very strongly intruded on her present. So she's coming down the stairs. She's still wearing her dressing gown because this is not a dress-up thing. And this is what Tsetseliya thinks of as how you dress for a not a dress-up thing. So she's wearing her painted mask, which is the symbol of the witches of Rashomon, kind of cocked up on her head. And there is a white-coated wolf kind of following her. So she's gonna kind of slope down the stairs, find a chair, take a piece of toast, and she's gonna eat that toast and drop crumbs everywhere because she knows that getting yelled at for crumbs everywhere by Artemisia is better than talking about what happened in the Vamos crypt, because she's pretty sure that Rogar and Caliph, who were there, are not going to interrupt Artemisia as she's yelling about crumbs, because then they might get it for putting their shoes on the carpet. She's kind of terrified that Artemisia has already knows that she kind of just slipped out. Like she wasn't there, she was somewhere else, but that somewhere else wasn't real. But it doesn't matter if it wasn't real, because there are red wizards, they're coming, and you blast and you run, and you can't find Viscaris, and if he's dead, then... So she's gonna feed the wolf some toast, and she's gonna take a cup of tea. She just has to get through this brunch or meeting or whatever it is we're doing here, and then she's gonna drag Caliph off to the library so she can figure out if Illyra is lying about how she got this 6-fingered mark on her arm, because she says it's Lilton, who is Artemisia's not boyfriend, and she kind of hopes that Illyra is lying, and it isn't from Lilton, not because she likes Lilton, because Lilton's the worst. He's the absolute worst.
Can confirm.
But she doesn't want to break Artemisia's heart, because like crumbs in the carpet is one thing, demon steering boyfriends are another entirely.
All right. The wolf quite happily eats the toast that you're feeding, much to the horror of Charity, who is Artemisia's maid. This kind of dark-skinned woman who wears head wrapping and wrapping all around her face, so not revealing her hair or anything. She dresses very modestly, and she's constantly trying to clean up the crumbs, and the wolf is constantly trying to eat them, so they kind of are going around and around.
Charity, just let him take care of it. He'll eat them all. Don't worry.
She's like, but
Grumble.
and you
It's
see
cool.
that
It's just a carpet.
you see that Caliph has arrived. Do you two share a look?
So while people are being distracted by Jiggle Wolf and the crumbs, Kayla's gonna sidle. I see words on pages more than I actually say them.
Honey, we're all in the same boat.
Just crab walk up to her.
We are your people here.
Kayla is gonna crab walk up. No, she's just gonna edge over and be like, "So the thing in the crypt."
We don't need to talk about the thing in the crypt.
We
Thank you
don't.
for what you did, but we don't need to talk about it. It's fine.
All right.
Sure.
Kayla is like,
Rogar just
Somehow
walked up in the
neither
middle.
of you saw Rogar, despite the clank, clank, clank of
You
the
just
armor.
look down, and there he is. He was
Yeah.
right there.
Well, Artemisia needs to talk to Rogar, so
Ah.
if you guys are good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Tsetseliya super thinks that Caliph is talking about her having a weird moment.
And Caliph-
and maybe a flashback.
and Caliph Caliph is talking about the whole, oh, Aiden is House Vamos thing. So they're both thinking the wrong thing.
Fortunately for Caliph, Tsetseliya does not remember that part.
But you both come to the correct conclusion, which is we don't need to talk about this.
Yes.
All right, and there are loud footsteps outside because Stung is arriving.
You only think that it's coming from outside the door, but
Uh-oh.
actually, Stong Makuk arrives from the kitchens in the back. Hi, I'm Ying Ying Wang, blah, 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 blah. I play Stong Makuk, a half-orc bard who is a bad bard, but one bad
Ass.
fighter. He's
Like
just...
bad in a good way fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's what he
totally
is.
worked. So anyway, Stong emerges from the back and he's carrying this giant vat of something that looks very like thick and viscous. And inside of it, you catch like these little floating pieces that are like long and tentacle-like. There's some pieces that are like chunky, and every once in a while you catch like this gentle waft of. You almost think it's like sewage, but it's more like earthy, almost like a swamp.
Oh, wow.
Is that coffee?
Say, no, even better. This is snail and eel soup, a delicacy from the Cormier swamps where I was raised. I really wanted you all to try it, so I went into the kitchen early and made this batch myself.
My kitchen.
Very thoughtful.
You don't want to go back there right now. Just give the servants like an hour.
Has Artemisia ever been in the kitchen?
That's fair.
I mean, I feel like Artemisia's probably like made sure this kitchen is in top working order.
Absolutely.
Right?
So is this hot soup?
Artemisia might be a bit of a micromanager.
Maybe.
So does Artemisia rush to the kitchen?
She probably smells it before.
Well, first she needed to talk to Rogar because
She pulled me aside.
yeah, pulled you aside.
Okay.
Because you don't need to live in the basement. Do you want to live in the basement? Or because there's another bedroom that for
I paid
very
my rent.
similar price.
I paid my rent. It's still my room.
No, it's not yours. There's another room. I was clearing out. I think there's enough room for cozy little bed, especially a shorter bed.
No, the basement's perfect. It reminds me of my soul back at the temple, and being underground is just more comforting for me.
Alright.
So it's fine. Actually, it's perfect.
And you're all right with Roomba.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
And for those who have wouldn't know, Roomba it's based on an Elven word.
A very ancient elven word, yes.
yes.
Meaning sweeper.
Is a little gelatinous
Stuck
cube
in a corner.
about yay big.
About the
For
size of a dice box for D6s.
Yes. And Artemisia met it when it was bigger, and she had a bad experience with a gelatinous cube at one point, so she kind of magic missiled it. But one of the pieces, like, reformed itself and kind of kept on trucking, and it keeps the basement very clean. So everybody who lives in the house knows they have to keep the door shut so that Roomba doesn't escape. But meanwhile, Roomba can make sure that the basement is very tidy.
It keeps my armor nice and shiny too. It's very nice.
Two important facts. One, Roomba is indeed a piece of that original gelatinous cube that you all encountered that one time. And you blew it apart, and a chunk of it ended up in someone's pocket or clothes. And then you blew that one apart and got little Roomba. Two, all of this comes flashing through Artemisia's mind because Roomba is currently sucking up on the shoulder of Rogar's armor as he stands there in the living room. Roomba moves very slowly because Roomba is a very, very tiny creature.
Perhaps he'd
Doing 1 point of acid damage.
better return him.
It's
to
like
Sorry. There you go.
it's like a peel for your hands.
That's
yes.
great.
Never had smoother skin.
That's right.
All right, but now Artemisia is going to have to go see what's happened in her kitchen.
But Stong wants to lean in and say, "Oh, you've got a room that's opened up, huh? I think Sturds is looking for a place to live."
Sorry, because Rogar just took it. It was only a small room.
Oh, that's not what I heard. But are things still awkward between you two? You and
He
Sturge?
asks awkwardly.
They haven't spoken yet.
I will address it when he's had something to eat. Maybe put him in a good mood.
Why are
Good
things
idea.
awkward between you?
I will address it when everybody's had something to eat.
Oh my god, did you sleep with Sturge?
Wait. What is Lilton gonna think
Stong
about
just,
this?
Like, turns
this makes me
away,
so happy.
takes the soup to the table, and just puts it down.
The look on Artemisia's
look
face
at my
told
friends
Tsetseliya that has absolutely not happened.
Does Lilton know about
She's
this?
very glad.
So little lightning is starting to crackle around Artemisia,
It's ruining static electricity. Is ruining her hair.
and her hair is starting to frizz. And then you see the smoke emerging from the kitchen.
I'm going to the kitchen.
All right, Artemisia, very flustered, runs to the kitchen where she finds a horrified Bo standing there looking at this utter mess of every surface in the kitchen. Bo being their kind of tough footman sort of servant.
Cool boy.
Oh boy, is what Sturge calls him. And Bo is like, I'm sorry, mistress. Well, just gestures.
I don't blame you. So she's going to start with the prestidigitation.
All right.
Now it will have to be carefully aimed because she doesn't want to like clean the counters onto the wall. But I'm sure that in life she has learned some kind of like get canvas and like.
But
place
yeah,
it in
Bo
there.
says, "I'll get the urn."
Yes.
He holds up the urn like a dustpan, and Artemisia. Okay.
Prestidigitation.
So it is into that chaos that Sturge arrives. At length, finally. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about Sturge.
Okay, thank you. I'm Stephen Merlino, author of The Jack of Souls and The Jack of Ruin, and I'm playing Sturge, also known as Kraban Gleer. He's an arcane trickster, actor, and magic addict, as well as a eunuch free of the constraints of the flesh. He is fretting at the moment. It's cold outside. His nose, which is about 8 inches long, he's been experimenting with keeping it warm with this sort of woolen condom-like thing.
Oh my gosh.
But it keeps falling off. It's very frustrating. And so he ends up putting on his plague doctor mask, which he feels is a little much, but at least it keeps his nose warm.
Does he have the feathers?
Well, he had a gorgeous black crow feather cape, which was incinerated when Artemisia cast a wickedly crackling lightning bolt at him.
Does Sturge know that Artemisia cast that lightning bolt? Because as I recall, he was knocked very unconscious by that lightning bolt.
We'll get to that.
From behind. All right.
So, he's a smart guy. He can. Oops, sorry, that was my microphone I just grabbed. He's a smart guy, so
He's a smart guy.
he figured things out. So he comes in and he looks immediately for Tsetseliya. Is she in the room?
Yes, and she's looking at you weird.
Yeah. So he's going to smile at everyone as he passes and goes to Tsetseliya and say, "Good afternoon. Did you know your sister nearly killed me?"
Oh, thank God!
Well, we still don't know if that just means that. Oh, never mind.
Oh no!
It hurt very bad. In fact, it knocked me out.
I don't want to know
Wait,
these
what
things.
are we talking about
I don't
here?
want to know these things.
Ruined my clothing.
What exactly? What exactly happened?
Why are you asking him? We don't want to know.
Funny thing, I'm actually collecting these sort of stories. Okay, here's the thing. When I was at the temple, we had this tome called Happy Earthquakes, which had all of sort of the Dwarven. It was the Dwarven Guide to Making Love, aye. And
Charity says, "I've heard that, Tom."
and it was one of my favorite things there. And anyway, but I had to leave it at the temple because it was not mine. And so I've been and out in the world, I've learned that people have very many different interesting things. I thought that it was cover to cover everything you needed to know, but I'm learning there's maybe some more. And so I'm collecting stories. I'll probably be coming to each of you and sort of trying to collect sort of your knowledge and experiences into a tome that I think will be for posterity and for education of those who need it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go help Artemisia clean the kitchen.
Are you under the impression that I made love with Artemisia?
Oh, well, I think. Well, we don't know. Clearly, something happened, and she's
Can you
sort of.
describe how exactly that would work with me?
Charity
Well,
says, yes,
you-
please be detailed.
You would probably like. Well, first thing I can tell you is probably a cotton woolen condom like that wouldn't work. But
So Stog is gonna put his hands over Mirabelle's ears and just like hum softly.
Mirabelle goes,
Jiggle, jiggle, bounce.
Never mind, Rogar. Is there anything to drink?
oh,
There's stew.
Oh yes, you should have some of my stew.
Also, there's real
This is
food.
famous.
The servants have prepared
Hey, you're
a
not
wine
in
spread.
the kitchen.
I require wine.
There is wine. And
yes.
there's merrymaking. And after this initial series of misunderstandings, the misunderstandings continue for some time.
See?
And you spend time in community and fellowship. And eventually, there comes a knock at the door. Varys, their dwarf seneschal, sort of a head butler servant, gets up and goes to answer the door. And he comes back a moment later and addresses himself to Artemisia. He says, "There is a gentleman calling upon you."
Okay.
He says that his name is Sir Dren, and he represents the Eye of Justice.
Who wants to kick him out?
I will first see what his
I don't know.
business is.
Don't know who he is.
And then maybe. I'm a little worried, but
Tsetseliya is agreeing to this mostly because she made the very bad assumption earlier and feels guilty about it.
Caliph spent the most time in the Eye of Justice of any of us. Do you know who this person is?
Kalith is no longer in the room. As soon as she heard Eye of Justice, she went upstairs to hide.
Fair enough.
well,
Do you
Artemisia's
admit him?
There's just a single feather.
Yes.
Okay.
Gonna go to the
Varys goes to admit him, unless you want to go meet him on the porch.
Yeah.
Okay, you go and meet him on the porch. All right, so you see Kalen, kind of brown hair, brown skinned guy, very gray eyes, almost looks like they're blind gray colored, standing on the porch, and he is obviously beat up, like seriously, bruises, bandages, he's limping slightly, and he says, Lady Terroron.
How can we help you?
I have come to offer a formal apology. May I come in?
Certainly. This
Thank
way.
you. He limps up through the door. One of his legs doesn't seem to be functioning properly.
Oh man.
Were we able to hear any of the conversation, or was the door closed?
Well, the door was open.
It's not
but
very
there
far
are no-
to the main room. So yeah, you can hear them.
I imagine everyone was like this, trying to eavesdrop.
Certainly
Like
help yourself
Scooby-Doo.
to
All right.
food. If
You show him
wish.
in. You show him into the main room, and he looks around. And he says, "Oh, I apologize. I did not realize that you were having a revel."
Several of these of my friends live here, and others were simply gathering. It's nothing special.
How fortuitous.
Please come in, have some of Stong's soup.
So you
made
see
it
that
myself.
you see that he doesn't have any weapons and he's not wearing any armor, and he awkwardly kneels down onto one knee
Whoa.
and he says,
What's happening?
I am here to offer you an apology on behalf of the Eye of Justice for their poor decisions in the recent days. You were acting in the cause of justice and you did not deserve to be placed in danger.
How ironic that is.
That's a
It
poor way of
is.
proposing marriage.
It's very original.
I thank you for your apology. I obviously cannot accept on anyone else's behalf. But
Of course.
On my own, I appreciate it.
And I think I have something that probably best belongs with you.
Indeed. He rises awkwardly.
I
Soup.
go
I
down
have-
into the basement and retrieve the sword. Oh,
Okay, he
sorry.
moves to accompany you, but you are moving faster than he is. So yeah, he says, yes, there is a certain business that I wish to discuss with several of you. Is Lady Amakir present? I do not see her.
You hear a voice coming from upstairs. No one's here.
We could have covered for you.
If you wish to speak with her, I will go and see if she is here.
Ask him if he's still mad at me.
I would be much obliged. I need to apologize to her personally.
All right, Kalith is here.
So,
She was just listening upstairs.
okay, he sees you up there and he says, Lady Amakir, your actions have vindicated themselves and proved you to be in the right, and I apologize for frightening you and your companion.
Thank you. At the same time, I wish to apologize for unintentionally causing so much chaos and destruction at the Eye Justice.
It is unnecessary but appreciated. He looks to Rogar. He says, yes, you wish to discuss Vindicator. He indicates the sword that you're holding.
Your indicator of Vindicator? Oh, wait, here,
Shall
hold up
we
the sword.
step into a place that is more private?
If you feel the need, I suppose.
You want to go in private with him to look at the sword. At his sword.
I didn't ken.
His steely gaze falls upon you.
Right, no, here. Well, first, here, just, if you wouldn't mind just taking the sword.
He takes it from you.
Thank you.
A little
That feels good.
hesitantly, but he does.
Ah.
And he says, it is interesting that the sword chose to respond to you and that you have been chosen by it.
Well, I'll never met a sword that I've never even had a conversation with it. I don't know why it chose me, but I'm sure it's a very nice sword. No offense meant, Mr. Sword.
You are a
but,
man of great faith and conviction. That is why the sword chose you. Or you have a great destiny ahead of you.
Oh, well, hopefully to defeat the Bogglewumps, I think, though it's maybe not humble to say, I think would be a great destiny to save all life on Faerun.
What is a Bogglewump? If you do not mind me asking.
That is a very good question. Well, there I was.
So you start explaining to him the whole epic story. All right, so the rest of you, they're having this conversation.
Oh, I wanted to talk.
Part of his penance,
Spin-off content.
Part of Dren's penance is to consume a full bowl of the soup.
So Sturge brings him a bowl of the soup.
That sounds like a reward to me.
Yeah, he apologized, and so now we accept his apology
I
with
did
a
not
hot
accept
bowl
it.
of orc soup.
There we are.
Do you bring
It's
him a
tragic
bowl
that
of orc
Tsetseliya is
soup?
allergic to snails.
I'm surprised you didn't press it.
Oh, I can pick out the snails for you.
Like something.
He
You're my
looks
best
at it,
friend. I'll
he
do
looks
that
at
for
you, and he says, thank you, with a sort of question mark at the end. And then he starts eating it.
Sturge goes back to his wine and watches him very carefully.
He doesn't seem to be adversely affected by
It's a
the soup.
port city. They're used to
Another
nice
actor,
things.
I see.
Well, have you tried the soup?
An actor recognizes
All right,
an
so
actor.
do you give him back the sword, or do you want to keep the sword? Because he offers it to you either way.
Oh,
That he will take it for safekeeping, or he will leave it with you.
I may feel comfortable with it if you didn't mind holding on to it, and if I ever feel the need for a shiny, flamey sword, I'll know where to come.
Well, it shall know where to go.
Or that.
Perhaps we should speak again, and I can tell you of Redagast, who formerly wielded this sword. In your
I-
own time,
Perhaps one day. Aye.
perhaps. He continues to eat the soup. Again, seemingly not adversely affected.
Stong respects this man just a little more, +1 respect.
So the afternoon continues. Kaelin's still there. He's eating the soup. It's a big bowl of soup.
I'm gonna do a little insight check. I think. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Rogar's not smart, but he's wise, and he's questioning why this guy's really here. Ooh, 18 plus whatever. So,
In the 20s.
24ish.
Nice.
And actually, Kaylin wants to speak with each of you individually to tell you about to convey the apologies of the Eye of Justice for its misdeeds.
Like, it seems odd to me that he'd be here apologizing regardless. Like,
Would you get on your check?
24.
He's definitely intrigued by you and wants to kind of weigh you a little bit, like get the feel for your group. You
I
so
don't
far
like
he
being,
thinks
I know I'm short, but I don't like being lifted. So
far he seems to think that you are good and noble people.
well, that's very kind of him. But
He's only spoken with that end of the table. Wait, that doesn't really
sneak
know.
out the back.
I feel like he's probably the Eye of Justice is probably in deep doo-doo with the
Nade is the word for that in the realm.
Do you want to ask him about it?
deep nade with between House Famos and everything else. And
With your high enough check, you
Yeah.
get the sense that yes, they are in trouble, probably political trouble.
so
in
they're
the
looking
city.
for as many friends and as smooth as many.
Perhaps,
Aye.
or at least just prevent people from adding to the pile. One thing that happens is he talks to Tsetseliya, or attempts to talk to Tsetseliya, unless you're avoiding him.
Does Tsetseliya remember him from the fight?
I think as soon as you see him, you would probably have a brief flashback of this guy stepping up and getting
Tsetseliya,
stabbed
you know what I'll
instead of
do?
you.
We'll do
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
high and low,
Sure,
right? So high I remember, low I don't.
fair enough.
I don't know this guy.
Okay.
I rolled it too,
Yeah, he's looking at you like he recognizes you.
which is very uncomfortable.
He says, "Excuse me, is that a Wicklaran mask?"
Yes,
So
definitely.
you are a witch of Rashomon.
Yes. In fact,
I am honored that he bows to you.
have you been to Rashomon?
I have not myself been to Rashomon,
It's a pretty great place. More people should go.
so I have heard.
Definitely you should wear a coat. Very simple.
Can I bardic knowledge, some knowledge about Rashomon?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well,
13.
well, don't roll on your dice bag.
Well, it was okay, fine. Okay, well, that's not quite as good.
You scared the guy.
The cocked
It's a
die
10.
rule. All right.
Yep.
It is very cold there. So she was absolutely correct. And there are the government structure of Rashomon is composed of the masked witches of Rashomon. Aaron, do you want to tell him anything else about Rashomon with that 10? That's kind of average knowledge of the place.
There's an Iron Lord
Yeah.
that ostensibly rules things, but really the witches tell him what to do.
Yeah.
Cool.
There are spirits.
Cool.
So spirit magic is a thing.
Oh, wow.
And
All
they
this
have-
is coming
they-
into
you know,
my head.
I do
like,
think
of
Don
course. Oh,
might be aware of the fact that they have a pretty strong warrior culture. Lots of big badass fighters.
Wait, so if the witches really run things and you're a witch, are you a politician?
Well, I am good at telling people what they want to hear.
So yes.
I love
Yeah, Tsetseliya for president.
That is one of
What
the
could go wrong?
that is
Not
one
worse
of the
than what we
key
got.
qualifications of a politician.
I love how every time she's asked about Rashomon, the first thing she asks the other person is, "Have you ever been there?"
How much do you know?
Exactly. All right. Well, eventually, there is another knock at the door, and it appears Varys goes to answer the door.
That's what I pay you for.
Yeah. Well, he just sighs every time, and he comes back with a parcel, and he says, "This was brought to Briarhouse for Crabangleer.
Why are you getting mail?
Apparently, so the messenger conveyed to me, Crabangleer has a unpredictable address, and you are his most responsible companion."
Stomp takes offense to that.
Crabangleer could clarify that if anyone were to ask him. Responsible, was it?
That is what the messenger said.
Yes, I suppose
Would
in
you
some
like
ways.
it, or shall I give it to the mistress?
She's giving it. She's
Yeah, she'll
Okay.
take it. And then she'll
He'll take it.
It appears to be a sheaf of letters, which are wrapped together with a red ribbon, and then inside a larger envelope.
Oh my gosh, his heart stops for a second.
Silence falls over the brunch.
Is it bad news?
Is it a lot of bad news?
Did you even read it?
I don't know yet, but I have. May I borrow a bedroom just to sit for a moment with this? And
Why do you need a? Well, never mind.
The kitchen.
Spread it on the bed, roll around in case
a
it's magical.
table would do something.
No
Yeah.
one's in the kitchen right now.
He goes into the kitchen.
Okay.
And just unties.
Bo is in there.
Oh,
Cleaning.
someone is in the kitchen.
Well, feel free to tell Bo to work in the garden.
Well, he does
Do you
it.
tell Bo to go work in the garden?
Bo,
I?
do you have letters?
Do I have letters?
Do you read?
Don't we all have letters?
Do you read?
I don't really have letters. I don't know how to read.
You're fine.
Okay.
And are
Just
these?
keep polishing these glasses.
I look.
He's
What?
pretty.
What do we have here?
It is a series of correspondence written in Elvish. You speak and read Elvish between various people. You're not entirely sure why that would have come to you. Roll an investigation check.
9.
Okay. Yeah, you just start reading through them, and they're letters. Some of them are kind of romantic between like people who have a relationship. Some of them are just updates about their life. They're mostly talking about the elven city of Corminthir. At least one of the correspondence is in that city, and these letters are dated from at least 50 years ago.
Out of character, Corman.
Corminthir is the ancient elven capital of Corminthor, which is the great forest in the middle of Faerun. It is what is now called Mithranor.
And when was it named Mithranor?
That was the ancient name of that capital city. Shortly before and during the time that it was infested by demons and monsters.
And that was.
And then it was reclaimed by the elves about a century ago and renamed Corminthir.
And that's where Sturge's family was from.
Yes. Well, as far as you know.
Looking for signatures. And
All right. So once you see that word, Corminthir, then you start searching again. Make another check with disadvantage, because now your mind is flooded.
That would be a what? 10.
10. Okay. You think that maybe some of these people might be relations of yours in some way?
Oh my.
You'd have to study the letters more.
Well, he'll pack them up. This isn't the time and place for it, but he's been looking for something like this for years since he came here. And when his brother was killed, his brother was the best lead he had to find out some things about his past and his family, and then his brother was murdered. And the trail has kind of gone cold since then, so...
So you look up and you see that you are not alone in the kitchen. Kalen Dren has come into the kitchen. And he's like, "Are you all right?"
Yes.
You seem unsettled.
Voices from the past that I am unfamiliar with, but have longed for. He wraps it up.
Kalen nods. He understands.
Do you have family here?
I am an orphan.
Then you would understand. This may be some voices from my family. I only knew one member of my family. It was my brother, and he was taken from us. In this very house, he was taken from us. Murdered. This kissing bandit, this kissing murderer, reminded me of that. And now I wonder if there's a connection.
I see.
Do you know who this bandit, this kissing murderer is?
Yes.
Who?
I'm not certain that you want to face this individual.
I would like to know who it was who tried to kill my friend Lady Kiko, and why.
Kalen looks back into the corridor. And he says, give it some time. If you still wish to know, I shall meet you at midnight in the, shall we say, in Lilda's fest hall outside the city.
May I bring my companions?
As you wish. Nods and walks away.
Stom wants to yell from beyond the corridor, "We'll go too!" Midnight, okay.
So Kalen comes back and he goes to Artemisia and says, I have tarried here very long. Thank you for your hospitality. I shall be taking my leave now.
You are most welcome.
And he nods to each of you, bows to each of you, and then leaves.
I cross my arms after he leaves, and I go, I didn't really get an apology.
He did
He ate
go
your
and
soup, man.
he did go and
Okay.
apologize to each person individually.
Yeah.
You didn't feel it was sincere.
Mirabelle kind of reaches up and
Quality.
just like wraps her arms around one of your arms.
Thanks, Mirabelle.
Oh.
I
Feed
looked
her a
at
little
the
bit.
side light next to the door just to see, is he leaning over the snow and vomiting?
No.
Hey, have you tried the soup?
I'm
Right.
wine. I'm sticking to wine.
I'm curious, like, my question, if ever you would be, who was this messenger who delivered the letters? Because I would, like, want to know where they got the letters from and all that stuff.
What's the address?
Is there a from on there?
The envelope that it came in is blank. It just has your name on it, and it says care of Artemisia Terraron.
Do I recognize the hand?
No. Well, make an investigation check. You might, I suppose.
Ooh, this one's good. 23.
No. You do not recognize the hand.
Okay.
You needed 24. Then you would know.
You needed 25.
Well, Artemisia is going to go up to him and say, if it's someone you know, would you like to continue to receive your mail here, or are you going to give them a different address?
Is the messenger still standing there, waiting
No.
for payment?
Oh
or-
no, the messenger's long gone.
Okay. I'm content to receive mail here.
I would be happy to do you that service.
For a small fee.
No fees.
Oh.
You should try asking
Small amount
Varys.
of
what he
rent.
saw.
All right.
Varys, I asked Varys, who's the messenger? Do you recognize him?
A coin lad.
That went nowhere fast.
I gave him a coin. He seemed happy.
Should
No
you
one
tell
that I
people
know.
what a coin lad is?
Well, in this case, what Varys means is that it's a random service professional who will do things for coin.
See, that means a
Often-
different thing in other places.
Yeah.
In other places and on less dignified lips, a coin lad is kind of a euphemism for a male sex worker.
You're
not-
It's like,
You're not entirely sure what Varys meant. He seems very
dirty old man.
dignified, though.
Varys obviously has hidden depths. We don't know what he gets up to. He might,
Yep.
okay.
He has
But-
fun on the weekends.
What did you get?
Letters from, it seems, members of my extended family to each other. How many letters are we talking about?
14, 15?
And each one like a single page sheaf, or
Usually, yeah.
okay. I need to read them to see what they say. It's only 14 pages. I could probably spend an hour perusing them.
You
And
can spread it around. Give everyone mark out the good parts.
just
Grandpa buried the treasure under this tree. I'm just gonna keep that one for myself.
Sturge is a little flustered. He wants to get right to it. If you don't mind, I'll sit by the fire and read these, and I may ask for your help afterwards to see if you recognize anything that I don't in them. This is the best lead I've had on my family since Alvaril perished.
Tsetseliya will give up the good chair because she was getting up anyway.
All right.
So it's passing on into slightly darker hours of the day, and you see a faint mist starts creeping down the street, which might be just evening weather coming. It might be something more sinister.
I do
I
tell
love
them
that we
about
live
the
in a place we
midnight
can't
meeting.
tell.
Yeah.
What was that?
I love that we live in a city where we can't tell. Is that weather or is that evil wizard?
Weather, danger. Weather, danger.
You live in a game system where you can't tell. So you read the letters more, and the letters don't seem particularly connected to each other until you sort of view them in the larger scheme of things and realize that they have certain patterns which are hinting at a location on the Dragon Coast.
Road trip. Oh,
So,
Not too far from the city
so
necessarily.
I'm going to share them with everybody.
Okay.
As long as if there's nothing really shocking and horrifying in there about that would break Sturge's heart, then he wants them to look and help him see what they find that he might not find. So hinting at a location on the Dragon Coast.
Yes.
A home, a
Let me,
burial site.
let me update you, but it'll just take a second. Continue
Okay.
conversing. I think Tsetseliya and Caleb had some business, perhaps.
Yes, we were gonna go to the library for studying.
Yeah, about that. No, we're still going. We just need to.
Get you a library card? That's probably not
Maybe
great.
something like that.
A disguise.
I can't go with these. They can't know it's me. Can't really tuck them in. They don't really tuck. Look, they still stick out a little.
Huge Monty Python backpack.
Does Sturge have a spell that?
She has one herself.
Yeah, I mean, I have
She's quite
disguise self,
skilled with
but this needs to be realistic.
Okay.
I'm going to if we're going, I'm going to disguise myself as someone who you would normally be seen with.
Oh, and I don't have any friends, so
No, sister.
You have a sister.
yeah. So we'll just go run this errand real quick
What could go wrong?
and be back.
Yeah, we're gonna get some more stew. We'll be back.
Caleb.
Before you leave, Stong is going to say, "Are you guys researching something?
Yes.
Then let me give you a little bit of a boost." And he puts his hands around your head, and you feel your brain get a little tingly again. So for the next hour, so I'm going to cast Fox's Cunning on you. So you get advantage on any intelligence checks.
Classic Stong move.
classic stomp.
So does
Big
Artemisia
brain.
notice you guys leaving?
Cosmic brain.
Or are you sneaking out like...
I don't think we're trying to tell Artemisia that we're leaving.
Well, you
but
definitely notice the spell casting. Stong spell casting is not subtle.
It's fair. It doesn't
you-
involve
'Cause,
singing, doesn't
yeah.
it?
Do you make
does.
fox sounds when you do it? Do you make what does the fox say anyway? But do you make fox sounds when you cast it? Like, I don't know.
Foxy lady.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go listen to that song and then imitate those sounds next time. Because what does the fox say?
There are a lot of sounds.
Do they ever even answer it in that
They
song?
make a lot of different sounds
they
because
make some
foxes
attempts.
make a lot of different sounds.
Okay. Yeah, you
Anyway.
notice them. Long and
well,
short story.
So
you notice.
Artemisia is going to make assumptions, and so she's going to go up to her sister and try so that Caleb can't hear and just say, I know you don't like Aiden, But if you guys are gonna go like discuss him, like try not to like just tell her to like break it off with him immediately, because people don't like that. So like think about the
Okay.
advice you're giving her.
Okay, but he's the worst. But, or maybe not quite,
I know,
not
I
quite
know.
the worst.
I agree.
That's fine. We're gonna just go to the store.
Okay.
I'm gonna need
Rogar's
you to
so
roll a
thrown.
deception check, please.
Tsetseliya's so
Wait, she's
thrown by this
really good
advice.
at deception.
She
so-
kind of
I
is.
am. I'm excellent. And I rolled a 21.
Ooh.
Wow.
To go to the shops because we need more toast.
I rolled a 24 on
And-
perception. My ears perked up. Like I could tell they were talking something about relationship related. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I'm gonna tug along with you.
Okay.
So
That's all right.
Artemisia was saying she needed advice with Lilton.
Oh.
What?
Can't decide how to
gonna,
feel
like-
about this.
Push Rogar towards Artemisia, then grab.
Okay,
Wait,
Caleb,
how strong
I'm gonna need you to make a deception check with advantage because
no.
Rogar is heavily interested and wants to believe you.
That was good.
That one wasn't, but 15.
I mean, that seems reasonable.
Oh, great.
Push.
Love is in the air.
Scurry.
All right, so the two of you head out.
Yes.
Okay. I was pointing to them, even though it doesn't look that way in Twitch. I should really do something like this. All right. Okay. So you two, Tsetseliya and Kalith, depart from the scene briefly. The other four of you, Sturge, you're going to go to your meeting?
Oh, I wanted to bring everyone with us. but-
Okay. Sturge has been focusing on the notes, not really listening to all that's going on. Make another investigation check.
Okay. 15.
Okay. You noted that it was alluding to a location, and you went looking around the house for like a map of the surrounding area,
I'm gonna
and
get
you
stung.
finally found one in one of the rooms that appears to be a study of some kind. It might be Varys's bedroom. That's the but you find the map, you tear it off the wall, and you bring it back onto the table. You lay it flat and start triangulating based on the references, and you think that it is referring to what is now the city of Pros, P-R-O-S, which would have been in ruin at the time. As far as you know, it is still a ruin. It was a thriving city a century ago, but now it is, in the cataclysm of a century ago, largely destroyed the city, both through natural disaster and economic recession. But yeah, that's where the notes seem to be pointing.
And
And
do
that's
I-
not too far outside Westgate, a couple of days travel.
Do I understand what the significance of the place is by the letters?
It seems to have been used as a meeting place for some reason.
A rendezvous.
So, and they might have left items or further information there.
Definitely, when everyone's here and there's sharp minds
Well,
present.
Tsetseliya and Kalith have left.
Right. Artemisia's still here.
Artemisia is still here, yes.
Okay, and so is Stong. And
And Rogar.
and Rogar stayed.
Oh, aye.
Rogar is talking Artemisia's ear off about love.
Love.
Once,
Aye.
once
About
they,
additions to the Book of Happy Earthquake.
if I can lure Artemisia away and Stong, I'm going to tell them what I've been thinking and see if they can show them the references and see if they have better insights into it and his lore ability and so on.
Great. Yeah, anyone he has shown it to, you can make an investigation check.
50 years.
I'm gonna put my hands on my own head.
You can only have that spell active on one person at a time because it is a concentration spell.
Oh, whoops.
So Kayla suddenly feels her mental prowess
no,
draining
no,
away.
no. I could do it without. I'll try.
Yeah, that's a 2, and so that's a 2.
Artemisia
so-
looks at the letters and like, Yeah, how do you react?
Do you speak Elvish? Do you read Elvish?
Yes, I do. I'm a little distracted right now.
Okay.
The handwriting is terrible.
Would you get
Natural
20?
20. I did not need to enhance my own brain.
Okay, so I'll say a couple things. First of all, to Artemisia, looking at the letters is like looking at the first draft of a Jane Austen fanfic.
Whoa. I'm so excited to read this.
So it is these two maybe elven people trying to be romantic with each other, and you it is just not very interesting. It is not very convincing, and you don't get it. It seems like drivel to you.
Okay.
In my head,
Like I said, the first draft. Okay, Jane Austen fanfics are totally fine.
In my head, she gets a pen out and she's just like,
No.
Just makes corrections.
Stong, you see immediately the connections and patterns that Sturge was seeing and say, the city of Pros.
The city of Pros.
Because you passed through Pros on your way to Westgate.
Because I passed through Pros on my way to Westgate.
Exactly.
Is it a city still? I thought it was.
Well, when you were there, it was basically a ruin.
Well, when I was there, it was basically a ruin.
50 years ago, we would assume it was still a ruin as well, I suppose.
You suppose correctly.
Role playing.
But yeah, he just basically confirms what you had
Okay.
had gained from the notes and the letters.
And it's a city is a large place. Is there any indication of what, where in the city? Any kind of hint?
Not really.
No. Okay. All right.
It's sort of like we'll meet at the usual place, and then it describes geographical features that make you think it's referring to the city of Pros.
Okay. Those features might be. All right. Very good.
Well, the ruins of Pros. It was not a city when this letter was written.
Right.
And
Day trip.
is there? We're all gonna take a sniff. Is there like hints of lingering perfume or anything like that on the letters?
Make a perception check.
One.
You do not find any lingering perfumes.
He sneezes all
Yeah,
over.
two of you.
you get a huge amount of dust,
Aye.
which has its own delicate bouquet,
Okay.
and it is not what you were looking for.
All right.
Stalin's going to take one of the sheets, like preferably the juiciest scene, and then hold it in front of Mirabelle and try to teach her how to read out loud.
Okay, Mirabelle points at a couple of the letters.
What does this one say, Mirabelle? Can you sound it out? Try again. You got this. Don't make me enhance your brain.
Nah.
Very good, very good.
She just guessed 4 different sounds.
When I link them together, what do they sound like?
Safama,
I think she's on to something here, Serge. You should remember
which is not an
this.
elven word. Okay.
Safama.
All right. So you have this information. You two are headed off to the library. I think that is a good time to take our little break. So when we get back from break, we'll find out Tsetseliya and Kalis' attempts to uncover information, and we will find out what cryptic lore Kalen has to offer about this Kiss of Death killer, because I assume you're still going to go talk to him. There are a couple things that we want to do during the break. Again, I'm going to come back and answer some questions that you in the chat generate, and we're going to call this Interlude +1. We're going to have one of the other Dungeon Scrawlers here to join me for the interview. Which one is it? Well, you're going to choose. One of our mods is going to be running a poll. Run a poll about which of the 6 you would like to hear from. Ask some questions about their character, what they plan to do, etc. So go ahead and do that. Maybe that decision's already been made. I don't know. I'm not watching the chat. But we'll be back in just a couple minutes, and don't go anywhere. Thanks. And we're back. And it is Yang Yang who has won the poll. Jiggle, jiggle, bounce wins out.
Yes.
So, while the mod is collecting some questions, I wanted to ask Yang Yang if he has some musical insights or performance to share with us. He's not really this much shorter than me. He's actively sitting lower than me. That's why it looks like that.
I think Eric is being modest. He's
Oh my
actually
gosh.
like 7 feet tall.
It's true. I am like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, so, I think, since that first episode, I've prepared, like, some songs in my mind, but, I'm not going to share them unless the situation comes to fruition. And so far, every chance has not. I will say that last episode, there was an opportunity to sing a song for plant growth, and I will regret forever. It was one of those moments where I think I, like, looked down at it and I said, grow, but really what I should have said was Tsetseliya, and I will forever regret like not doing that.
Oh man, that would have been good. Possibly copyright infringement, but also very good.
I have a song kind of about copyright infringement if it ever comes up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
It's not about Wizards of the Coast copyright infringement, is it?
No.
Okay, good. Because the opinions of all of us do not reflect the opinions of Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, especially not Emily.
Especially not Emily. Okay, we do have a couple of questions. So I am going to ask this question of my companion here, and we'll see what his opinion is.
Okay.
So first question is from Zandalar. So, does the kiss of a death killer's kiss prevent a person from being resurrected? What do you think, Yang Yang?
I feel like the answer to that is yes, but to what degree, I don't know. I'd like to think that the Eye of Justice is very competent, so they must have tried to resurrect Radagast or some of the other victims that have died, or at least like question their souls, but there must have been something that prevented that from happening.
Yeah, we were having this conversation behind the scenes over the last week or so, and you kept insisting, like, can he be raised? Did they try to raise him? What's going on with this? And I, in typical DM fashion, was being very cryptic about it. Resurrection is one of those things in games that you have to... it can really spoil a lot of the narrative tension if resurrection is an easy thing to have happen. Even if death is not the logical consequence of a lot of actions. If you challenge your players by giving them something other than death to be fearful of, that can really help if resurrection is a thing in your games. Me, I haven't really addressed it. My answer is generally going to be, yes, resurrection is a thing in the game, but it's not as simple as, I sacrifice this pearl and this person comes back to life. It's a little bit more narratively sound. Whether the kiss of death killer, whether their power stops someone from being raised, I think I'm gonna say the answer is no. As you'll find out more about it soon, I suspect, because you're gonna go meet with Kalen, and he's a logical person to ask.
I see, but good question.
All right, very good question. All right, question from Snowy Wolf. How did you choose the name Stong for your character?
Okay. Episode 1, my character did not have a name. I was going to name it in the moment. And when I first described him, I believe he was Steven. He goes, oh, like the musician Sting. And I was like, no, like the musician Stong. And that was it.
Yeah, I was there. That's what happened. It was pretty great. Yeah, we started this campaign with a fiasco game, which is one of my favorite ways to do a session 0 game. And that requires, you basically build a character on the spot. You come to the game usually with some kind of expectation about what your character might be like, but then a lot of it is based on your relationships with other characters and how they play off of you. And so Stong was basically an improvised name, and it just stuck. It was great. I keep mixing up Sturge and Stong. I've gotten fairly good at it now, but it might occasionally happen.
Yeah, I mean, I literally thought, like Sting, but stronger.
Yeah.
Stonger. Stong.
All right, next question from Player Red 151. What is Yang Yang's favorite Pokemon?
Oh my goodness, this is a great question.
This is a great question.
I mean, there's so many fantastic Pokemon out there. I'll be honest. I've been a big Jigglypuff fan for a long time.
What? You don't say.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Sing the song.
Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff. All right.
All right,
Anyways.
take this inspiration.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, like I mained that character in Smash Brothers, every chance I got. I tried using Jigglypuff in Pokemon as far as I could. It just always took up one of my 6 slots, although, to be honest, I hardly ever used it. And I always cheered for it whenever it's got its little spotlight in Pokemon the cartoon.
Excellent. All right, further question, also from player Red 151. Can Stong learn a skill to throw his demon baby at the enemy to damage them? I'm going to field this question, and the answer is no, because Mirabelle has this thing where she cannot be in danger. That's one of the assumptions of our game. There's no child endangerment that happens in our game. And that's a clarification that we set as players in session 0. There is a child, but whenever danger happens, or she's placed in danger, or she could potentially take damage from something, she just disappears for one reason or another. And it's good to have these limits with your campaign to keep everyone comfortable and not really upset. So,
Yeah.
basically, no. But I did not deny the premise of the question, which was to say, is Mirabelle a demon baby? What do you think, Yang Yang?
I think part of the story, a strong storyline, is just clearing up what Mirabelle exactly is, and maybe she will have an opportunity to be part of some offensive maneuver in the future. So stay tuned.
Very good.
There's things brewing.
I think that's it for the questions that we have. Do you have anything else you want to impart?
Nope. Thanks for watching. Thanks for voting for me. I feel honored to be the first one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next week, when we do something like this again, Yang Yang will not be one of the poll options, so we'll pick someone else and just hear some views from lots of different players.
Yeah.
Thanks,
that's
everyone.
your chance to ask me all the hard-hitting questions. Never again. Goodbye.
Okay, and I think we're more or less ready to get going again. Everybody good? All right, welcome back
I'm
to
chaotic good, eh?
Chaotic good. Yeah, that's a good point. Welcome back to this session of the Westgate Irregulars, Echoes. I think we've started to see why the session might be named that. When last we left our intrepid adventurers 10 or so minutes ago, Sturge was starting to be pulled into this direction to research information about his long-lost family. Meanwhile, Tsetseliya and Kalith were off on their way to the library. And in fact, we're going to start with Kalith and Tsetseliya on their way to find out some information of their own. What are you talking about on your way to the library?
Well, as soon as we were out of sight of Briar House, Kalith put on the disguise to look like Artemisia.
That was uncanny.
So now she's doing her best to try and mimic Artemisia, trying to walk very primly and have good posture and look up constantly without tripping over things on the ground. How does she manage that?
I have
So-
absolutely no idea.
So you are walking, not taking the carriage?
I think that would have aroused a bit too much suspicion.
Yeah. Although at this point, it does occur to Tsetseliya that that is a piece. We're gonna have to be real careful. Does your disguise deal with mud?
I mean, if I get muddy, it's gonna show up.
Can't let you get muddy. She's gonna. That's a tell. Actually, I don't know. Does she go to the library?
She does now?
Okay, cool. Then the people at the library will just think she's kind of a mess, and we'll have to deal with that when it's a problem.
Further question. Did Kalith bring Dumpling to the brunch?
No.
Okay,
Dumpling is for outside Westgate activities.
very well.
Dumpling is Kayla's horse. Just as a quick reminder.
Caleb's
Terror
very smart, very violent, empathetic horse. Did you bring the wolf with you?
Yes.
Okay, the wolf is tagging along.
We'll have to figure out if they let wolves in libraries.
It turns out that they do not. When you get to the first library,
I feel like you should have known this. I'm just gonna say.
when you get to the first library, they tell you that as the sun is setting, they're closing the doors for the evening, for the night is dark and full of terrors. Perhaps come back in the morn. Perhaps without the wolf. The wolf looks very, very upset about that.
The wolf comes with us. I mean, as Lady Darden.
We do not. Lady Darden would like to go in the library.
And this is her emotional support wolf. It must go with her. That is non-negotiable.
I'm going to need you both to make a deception check.
Wait, but they're helping each other.
Yeah, that's why they're both making a deception check.
I got an 11.
Okay.
Got a 7.
Wow.
All right, the library door is shut in your face.
Oh, wow. Tough library.
Are there other libraries?
We can try the one at the university. I'm
So
assuming that's not where we
you
went
head to
first.
the university. Right.
We should have remembered to do this, and that guy came and he was eating the soup forever. We couldn't sneak out.
The Mintossen College for the Mindful and Powerful. And you head onto the university grounds.
On the plus side, it's a university. There's going to be students here all the time. They're probably still open.
They're mostly drinking at the taverns near the university, as the sun has mostly set at this point.
What's wrong with them? Why are they out drinking? Well, no, actually, there's nothing wrong with drinking, but really? All of them are drinking?
Caliph
No
is
one's-
befuddled. Caliph, as Artemisia, is befuddled.
I'm not sure if you're in character or not anymore, but
Oh.
that's okay because we're here.
Yes.
I don't know how Artemisia would feel. I feel like now I have to have more conversations with her. I don't know if she goes to the library. I don't know how she feels about books versus booze.
So there is a library building. It's a fairly small library, but you've been in there because you were with Aiden. You have kind of awkward memories of being in there with Aiden because he is a very awkward person. And you're sort of on the outs right now? Who knows?
Is this place gonna have the stuff?
It appears to be closed, but you could break in if you wanted to.
Oh, that's. You can't break in like Artemisia. I feel like that's a really bad idea.
Okay.
What could go wrong?
Can we make you look like? I mean, no one's here, right? They don't even know it's you.
Sturge.
That makes sense.
Excellent.
That makes sense. This is all very plausible right now.
Now
So-
Sturge is standing beside Tsetseliya.
I
Don't
propose.
talk about your business. Your business.
Oh, she's doing Sturge. This is classic.
I propose we break in through the back door.
Caliph is a
decide if I
master thief.
Listen to you because you're stirred or really shouldn't. But you know what? It's not going to be this door. Let's go check it out.
All right.
All right, so you head to the back door. Yeah, it is a sealed servant's entrance. This is where faculty can come through and leave surreptitiously. Students don't usually use this entrance.
Is it locked?
It is.
Just had to check.
Yeah, there's
you
a
have
heavy
a-
bar across the door, and there's a lock
I mean,
sealing it.
I have shatter, but I don't think
You
that's
just
the right
shatter
idea.
the lock. Can you aim it? It's really loud, isn't it? I forgot.
Can I do a tiny shatter? It is
No.
really loud.
If you can cast spells at higher levels, can you cast it at lower levels and do like Shatterette?
Called shatter.
If I just like
A sudden loud ringing noise, painfully intense, erupts from a point of your choice within range. Each creature in a 10-foot radius centered on that point must make a Constitution saving throw, etc., etc.
Let's base naked.
You can do
Okay.
it from 60 feet away if that makes it better. It probably does not.
This is a bust. I don't have any way to pick a lock. I'm gonna turn to the wolf and be like, "You don't know how to pick a lock, do you?" In
The
wolf
wolf kind of
language.
like narrows its eyes at you, and then kind of moves its head back and forth.
Listen, man, you don't tell me anything, so I gotta guess.
It scratches at
The
the
wolf
door.
cannot unlock the door.
All right, let's just go look in the windows. Maybe one of them
Talented
can.
adventurers, thwarted by a lock.
Maybe one of them can open, or there's someone inside.
All right, let's test some windows. We
All right.
should have brought Sturge. I'm
I
realizing.
need both of you to make a perception check, please.
Perception?
Perception.
This die is retired.
That's a 7.
11.
Wow.
You do faintly, Tsetseliya, you're about to give up on this whole endeavor when you see a faint light deep within, kind of filtering through the misty, clouded window. So there is someone inside, and the light is moving
All right.
slightly.
Can we pound on the window?
Okay. The light hesitates, and then starts coming toward you.
What could be in a library that's dangerous?
What could go wrong?
Can we see who it is whenever they get close enough?
The window is kind of, it's foggy, and not because there's condensation, but because that's how the glass is. So no, but you see it's a blue light inside, and the figure comes up and rubs the inside of the window, but nothing happens because it's misted glass.
Go to the door!
And then the light disappears from the window in the direction of the back door.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, remember, you're Sturge. You're a student here.
Yeah.
Definitely that makes sense.
Yes.
There's
I am a student.
You hear faint words, and then the lock opens itself, pulls itself off, and the bar goes up.
I'm gonna pull my mask down. Try to look real impressive.
And then the door opens, and standing there is Mirren Darkdance. Mirren, who has not
that
actually appeared at this point, is a dark-skinned woman with a shock of bright blue hair. She has eldritch tattoos all over her body in black, except when she's using magic, in which case they glow faintly blue. You can see that one of the runes on her forearm is glowing faintly blue from the spell she just cast. And she looks up at you cheerily, and she says, "Tsetseliya, Sturge?
Fancy seeing you here.
Well, it is a library. I do like libraries.
We
But it
do-
is after hours."
We had something very important to research, and we got stuck at home dealing with an unexpected guest, and we were hoping that we could just pop in real quick.
Oh, that happens all the time, certainly.
Thank you.
I'm a guest instructor for the winter, so...
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you instructing on?
Evocation.
Evocation.
Would you like to see a demonstration?
I would.
Oh, but it's after hours. We'll have to go back to my tower to do the proper demonstrations. What are you looking for? And she ushers you inside, and the door closes and locks itself.
That's
wolf inside
possible.
or
Best possible result here.
So, what do you want to try and look at?
Oh. Do we tell her, or do we try to get her to let us wander without?
Do you want to tell her? Do you
I
want?
don't know, because she and Illara are married. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I don't want to tell her I think her wife might be a big fat liar. Because I like Mirren.
We're here researching Archfey.
She says, "Oh, Archfey. What a fascinating concept
Tsetseliya's
and
like,
topic."
wait, what? I thought it was demons.
I thought you said you didn't want to tell her.
Oh,
Tell me what?
What could go wrong?
Oh!
Archfey and demons.
I am worried that someone in our party might have fallen afoul of someone controlling a demon. But I don't want to upset anything without knowing whether that is what's going on.
Is it you?
It is not me.
Is it Sturge?
Yes.
Oh no, you poor man. Hold on. She waves her hand, casting another spell. So a rune on her cheek lights up with blue. You didn't see that rune before. It just appears now. It says, "You are under the effect of a dreamer."
Yes.
Tsetseliya, stand back.
Okay, wait. Oh, okay, wait.
She immediately dispels that. So your disguise falls away.
Okay. Okay.
Caliph.
Mirren,
Caliph?
I'm realizing now we should not have fibbed to you. That's obviously not Sturge, but Kalis is not allowed in libraries frequently. And we didn't want anybody to get upset.
So she's not a demon.
She's not,
I'm not a demon.
And
So
then,
her other hand, which is full of blue fire, the fire slowly dies down. And she's, that's such a relief. She rubs that on the bookshelf, and the fire goes out before it lights any of the books.
that's good, because we don't need Kalis in a library that's on fire.
You know, good point. I probably should have used frost magic. You know I can do that on the fly, right?
I don't doubt you can do all kinds of things on the fly.
So you wanted to know about archfey and or demons.
We want to know about this. And Tsetseliya pulls her sleeve up, and there's the handprint.
So she looks at the handprint, and she looks at both of you, and she says, we better go to my tower.
Okay.
And she puts out her hand.
What
puts
could
out her
Go
hand.
wrong.
I don't like doing
What about the
this.
wolf? Don't forget the wolf.
Okay.
Is that yours?
What?
She points to the wolf.
Oh, yeah. That's Jigs.
Okay, so she
Compromise
kneels
here.
down and she puts out her hand to the wolf. And the wolf puts its paw in her hand.
Okay.
Just, that's a good wolf. And once you're all holding hands,
Okay.
she casts teleport and you all end up in her tower. You feel like you're
glad-
falling backward and then boom, you're in a different place.
Part of me's like, we're going to be in the abyss, and the demon's going to be like, ha ha, gotcha!
I was waiting until you teleported to spring my master plan. Yes, you are in Dark Dance Tower, but I'm going to cut to the other group for the moment. So, a bright flash of blue light illumines the first floor of the library at the Mintasan School for the Mindful and Powerful as you are riding past in the carriage.
Do you want to remind everybody what is on her arm?
She has a like a tattoo or a mark that looks like a six-fingered hand grabbed her arm and kind of burned into it. It looks more like a brand than a
Kind
tattoo.
of like almost like a burn that's got like a shimmery quality to it, I believe.
Right, and it has a magical aura and produces warmth.
And it was something grabbed her, right?
Well, Aaron can explain if you.
At the very beginning of our adventures together, there was a portal to probably the abyss, maybe, that
Mistakes were made, yes.
Mirabelle was rescued out of, and then something grabbed my arm. Something with 6 fingers and antlers, and that's what happened. I don't
Indeed.
know how many of the party know that, because not everybody was in the room when that happened, so that you jumped out the window to get some deck of many things stuff.
Sturge was in the middle of using a wish spell to adorn himself with fanciful clothes. Like I said, mistakes were made. Anyway, so the carriage is passing past the library of the college, and Sturge moves aside the curtain like, I just sensed magic, but you don't actually see anything. You just had this whiff, like your nose is like, and then you close it again. And you're in the carriage, the
Yes.
4 of you. Yes? Did you
Yes.
bring anyone else with you?
No.
No, just the 4 of you.
5 of us.
Well, Mirabelle, yes. So 4 and 3/4.
So, Sturge, I had some thoughts about magic that I wondered if you'd ever considered. Not that you need to do anything, but just to consider them. Have you ever thought that when using a disguise spell, perhaps you might like to let the rest of us know some sort of tell, or perhaps you could touch your nose, and then we would know if, for instance, there were 3 of one person that perhaps we might be attacking, which one of them, if any, are you? Just to consider for the future.
For no reason.
Well, I mean, it seems like something that might be good to, yeah.
So you don't need to flip a coin to decide who you're going to obliterate, and cross your fingers it's not your friend.
So Mirabelle says, "Ha ha, Auntie Artie, zap zap."
Stong just gives awkward side eye to everybody, back and forth.
Mirabelle's going like this.
There were 3.
2 of them were attacking Shay. Would that be me?
How droll.
Could be.
It seems I know what it's like to be intoxicated with power. I understand the urge to release it. That may be the closest I ever get, really. Anyway. But you mustn't flip a coin to decide who you're going to hit.
I flipped no coin. I simply, I apologize for a bad decision that I made.
I tell you what, I will find a tell for you. And next time you're in doubt, use a cantrip. Maybe not a lightning bolt. Oh, and I will forgive all if you replace my lost cape of crow feathers.
Oh, certainly.
You're
I
just-
could improve upon the design if you would
Excellent.
wish.
I like to be large, puffy, shouldery, half cape.
I will have my designers at the boutique create for you whatever you would like.
Very aggressive shoulder pads.
Quest added to the codex, collect 200 crow feathers.
I gotta tell you, I actually went on Amazon and looked up black feathers because it sounds so cool. I want one. I mean, obviously, the only time I could wear this is during a cosplay.
Or
but-
this stream.
Yeah, or the street.
Or this stream, I could indeed.
I don't know why you couldn't just wear it. Seattle. Man.
You get rained on, and that's going to be awful.
I don't know. Wouldn't it shed?
Wear it
Wouldn't
when
it
you
shed
teach.
water? When I teach.
He,
Yeah.
he is a
They'll really
teacher.
pay attention.
Yes.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
Let's start a fun. Let's make this
Anyway.
happen.
so
Right.
the carriage bounces along as the road has grown rougher, and one of you looks out the little window, and you see that you have crossed out of the famous West Gate of Westgate into the darkened fields, and you see just darkness spreading out around you. Waving, well, it wouldn't be waving grain because it is winter, so they just planted some of the things, and it looks bleak and barren and cold out there. You can also see the Sea of Fallen Stars to your north. You can see clouds on the far horizon where there's just a little hint of moonlight illuminating the difference between the cloud and the water. And
I hold up Mirabelle to give her a slightly better view.
she goes,
I hold her outside the window. Then pull her back
Wind
in.
in her hair.
Yeah,
She
then I
have
pull
my
her back
hair
in.
to-
so
Maybe
there's
like
a
2 strands.
there's a little knock at the wall of the carriage.
While we're in motion.
Yes, from the driver.
Oh, gotcha.
Saying, almost there, mistress. Just a few more moments up. Length of a song, eh?
Well, we're.
That is, in fact, how many Faerunians measure time, is in the length of songs.
How very Hudson Hawk of them. All right.
Yeah. Let's see.
Stong only sings when he's about to get paid, and his friends aren't going to pay him.
All right.
Plus it's
The
the manager's
carriage
not there.
keeps bouncing along.
Nobody's to
and
negotiate.
you see finally lights, torches along the road leading up to a fest hall, or just a large building. It looks like a villa on a patch of land, called Lulda's. It's a sprawling manor house, easily capable of catering to 200 individual patrons at once, perhaps more. Many, many people. It's a very large place. You see folk sitting out near fires, near braziers on the porch with very attractive people of various genders hanging on them and chatting with them. And yeah, it's a fest hall, all right. The folk working there are mostly dressed like maids, dock hands, some pirates, things like that. It's kind of a rustic feel. Okay, not exactly the place that Artemisia would usually find herself.
I was going to say, should I roll to see if she gets distracted? But it sounds like she would not be.
Although I should say, many of the patrons are indeed well-to-do and nobles who are slumming it.
Well, so what would I roll?
D20.
Okay. That's a 4.
Artemisia has been feeling neglected of late and is a little bit discomfited and like, oh, yeah, well, since we're here.
Well, and she just had a very intense conversation. She felt bad. Now, you know, if we could just like, after your thing, little stress relief.
The carriage pulls up. The hand, is that what we're calling him?
Yes.
Foot?
Hand
them?
the footman.
Hand the footman? Yeah. Hand hops down, opens up the door.
So,
Yep,
so,
we're here.
so hand is still.
Hand is attached to the carriage. Not literally.
Oh, but we still have a
Narratively
carriage.
attached to the carriage. You still have the carriage.
Oh,
You are
okay.
still in Lord Darden's carriage.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
much for
there
this
are
thing
folk
where she's
eyeing
like-
your carriage like, oh.
The thing where she's like, that might get me into trouble,
Yeah.
but it's a really nice carriage and I don't have to pay for it.
Maybe your sister should have stolen the carriage.
Hindsight.
So you all pile out of the carriage. Mirabelle goes, fest hall, ha. You're like, you wonder how she knows those words? Because
Good
you've
girl.
taken her into numerous fest halls. And here you are. What do you want to do?
Let's head in. Before we exit the carriage, I say I have told you what I asked of Kaelin Duran.
So Hand opens the door and you close it again to talk to everybody very seriously. Okay.
I should have said this on the way over.
Sure, yeah.
I asked him if he knew who the killer was, and he does. For some reason, he thinks we ought to talk about it outside the city. Not sure why. But I want to know.
Oh, so do I.
Me 3.
Let's go.
Okay. You head into the fest hall. It is a joyous, happy place. People are having a good time. They're singing, drinking songs.
Drinking songs?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. They're singing, drinking songs.
Singing, drinking songs. Yes.
Singing,
Shanties.
singing songs.
There's a
heard
whole
it as
section
drinking
of
songs also.
folk dressed sort of like pirates. Yeah,
Whoa.
it's a good time.
Are they from Pegfest?
The bouncers at the door eye Mirabelle, and they look up at Stone.
I look down at them and I say, "Is there a problem?"
Is that a 2-year-old child you're bringing into this establishment?
No, this is a 4-year-old child.
Mirabelle goes, 4!
Show the man how old you are on your fingers.
And the bouncer goes, okay. Just maybe don't give her any drink. I don't know.
Naturally.
You parent your own way. Go on in. All right, so you're in the fest hall. There are folk doing their thing.
Kaelin around?
Yeah, you look around and
taking some notes.
you look around and you do see Kaelin sitting at a table in the corner, the gray cloak and the cowl. But you know it's him because his eyes are very distinctive. He looks up when you come in, locks eyes with you, nods.
Head over.
He was nursing a tankard of ale. Okay. Yes, the mysterious man in the cloak in the corner is there. Just want you all to know that. Hello? You decided to bring them, I see.
I did. We go everywhere together.
You brought the child with you.
She's with me.
We go everywhere together.
I believe that. Fair enough. So,
So who's the killer?
You sit down at the table. Okay.
Straight to business.
Kalen sits there and he does not reply to you. He sits there and he seems to be staring at his tankard for a long time.
Barkeep, refill his drink.
It's only half empty.
Refill it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. The maid comes along and pours it, giving you a nice view of the ale.
It's a beautiful ale.
Yeah, it is. It is very nice. And Kalen eventually says, "Okay, I think we're safe." He looks up at you. Says, "Sorry, it just took a moment. I was making sure that there were no night masks listening."
What's a night mask?
He looks at you and raises one eyebrow. Like, that's the first time somebody's really surprised him. He's like, "The Night Masks are a thieves guild that operates out of Westgate. They rule the streets by night. The entity man that you fought, who was once a man, is a night mask. He is known as the Twilight Knight and is the chief enforcer of the guild."
Of the night masks.
Yes. Kalen looks around again. You realize that when he was looking at the tankard, he was listening to the room. He kind of does that, but he's also looking. And nobody seems to react. And he says, "This is a man, well, when he was a man, anyway, I knew him, and I thought I had killed him. Perhaps I did. But he has returned, and that is who you seek. I recognized his face when he came to kill me and your friends."
I'd like to ask him, why do you think he's been murdering these random people? Why would he target Lady Kiko?
Kalen sighs. "I suspect it is because of me. He has a vendetta against me, and he sought to play the Eye of Justice against Lady Nathalin in order to weaken us both and then swoop in and slay me, or Levia, or Ilra, but probably me. I did kill him, after all. And I ruined his life on multiple occasions before that. He was once a student of mine, until I failed him."
Well, then you can tell us what's his weakness. How do we find him? How do we kill him?
I thought his weakness was me chopping his arm off. But I was wrong.
Go for the head.
Go for the head.
He, like his master, fears that sword. And that is why he seeks to wield it himself at all times.
How did he get it?
It has chosen him as it chose me and as it chose Rogar.
Why would it choose him and me? I don't feel like we're the same at all.
A sword is simply a sword, a tool. It has no will of its own.
But it chose. That sounds like something with will.
It is drawn to folk of great faith and great conviction.
So it doesn't...
Like you, like him, like I used to be.
Doesn't it matter whether it's good or bad?
Apparently not. I learned that, much to my sorrow, long ago.
Then I suggest you destroy that damn thing.
Destroy a weapon of justice and power that
And
has...
evil and death, aye.
A sword is simply a sword. The wielder makes it so.
So don't give that sword to a potentially someone who would wield it for death.
You did use it to chase him off, did you not?
Aye, but I might have stopped him if I hadn't. Tell you, actually, I do accept the sword. Thank you very much. I would very much like to have the sword again.
Kaylin smiles faintly.
Are we going to take the sword to Mount Doom? I'm just asking.
Kaylin says, interesting. Very well. You may have it.
Ah, thank you. And do you have it? Does he have it with him? Does he
No,
hand it to me?
he does
Oh.
not.
Oh. Shall I Is it back at the
He
Hall
looks
of
at you
Justice?
expectantly.
Is it at the Hall of Justice?
Oh,
You
is this,
should know that.
is the sword within you all along?
Oh, is this okay?
You're trying to like summon it.
Was the sword the friends you made along the way? Would you like to try to call to the sword? The other patrons look at you, and Kalen's like,
Yes, sorry.
and all of them say, adventurers.
right. Okay. Right, I'll try. But I'm a little worried about it. I didn't like what happened last time I interacted with it. So, close my eyes. I think of the sword, think of the flames, I think of Sharinlar's grace.
You do feel Sharinlar's light upon your face. Make a charisma check.
Alright. 16.
16.
Aye.
There is a dark hand, a dark presence holding the sword. You reach out and you grab it, and you feel this other hand on it, and you try and pull, and it pulls back, and then you wrench it free, as though the entity didn't expect you to be holding it. And the rest of you, Rogar is now holding the sword, which is shining with golden flames.
Mirabelle and I both clap.
Oh.
Bernie.
Good job.
Yeah, you feel yourself bathed in Sharinlar's light.
And do I feel that hand again?
A faint, ghostly hand closes over your hand.
Okay, and then all of a sudden the Bogglewomp shadows start to surround me again. I'm like,
Yep, the sword
snap out of it.
disappears.
Disappears.
Oh.
Yep.
Doesn't just go out. The flames don't just
Nope,
go.
just disappears.
Ah, bloody.
And Kalen says,
Oh man.
as I
Schlarg
feared,
or whatever it is.
he will wrestle control of the sword. He has done so with me for years.
This night fellow, the Twilight Knight.
Correct.
The Twilight.
If you wish.
Right. So
twink.
when I'm not holding it, he's holding it right now. He's got the sword. I give it to you, but he has it.
We all have it.
Within us all.
Stog is gonna hold out his hands, and Mirabelle's gonna hold out her hands too, and we're all gonna be like,
You are a man of faith. I believe you can comprehend such mysteries.
I can't comprehend the mystery why he didn't destroy the damn thing.
Why
but,
did it disappear like that? What did you feel?
The Bogglewomps.
You say that word again.
I feel like, I don't know, I don't know if I'm supposed to like, if it's because I should be focused on them, or if they are growing in strength and trying to come between me and Sharinlar and my mission. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Stung, yes, think of the light. Think of Sharinlar's light. Think of it.
Mirabelle goes,
I don't think this is working, Rogar.
a faint mist starts sweeping through the common room.
Well,
This seems unusual. this is not just weather.
This is where the floor show starts.
Oh god.
And
Or evil wizard.
most of the patrons are like, oh, haha, floor show. And the workers are like, no.
Tsetseliya, did you just go?
We're not there.
Yeah, I know. Just Tsetseliya, did you go
Go where?
to them?
Oh,
No, because you always appear in mist.
And and Kalen he perks up and he looks at the spreading mist, and he reaches out and the sword appears in his hand.
Is this bad then? I take it.
He rises like there's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
I
Spreading out here.
Right,
Okay, you're spreading out. You're getting ready.
right.
The mist deepens, and a figure appears, clad in a tattered cloak. It's red. This cloak.
And it's not the Twilight.
You've never.
Wait, what about?
No, it is not. It is not.
Are you
not?
the Twilight?
It's not. Well, okay, maybe. Okay, so you're seeing this cloaked figure facing away from you, and the mist parts slightly, and he turns to look at you, and he's wearing a mask, but it's like a wolf mask.
Oh, interesting.
And he says, "Oh, terribly sorry," and he disappears into more mist, which dissipates out of the room.
How mysterious.
Well,
And Kalen says, "Huh." He casually sets the sword down on the table and sits down and waits for another ale.
Stong rubs his eyes and asks everybody if they also just saw the same thing. Or did I just...
All the patrons start clapping
my
like,
mind.
"Oh, that was wonderful." Ha, ha." And then one of them says, "How much for the cloaked man?"
The wolf mask. Yeah. I have no idea who that might be.
I think it's some crazy guy who wants to be a werewolf, maybe? I don't know.
Can I bardic knowledge to see if I recognize any of it?
Go for it.
Uh-oh.
Does
Well,
Gren?
and Artemisia would
Kalen's like, "That happens periodically."
Artemisia would try to think if it seemed related to the heraldry or sigils of any of the noble families of Westgate.
Okay, go ahead and make a history check.
Okay.
14.
14.
8.
8.
You gotta
No,
retire
it
all
did-
your dice.
It does
Oh.
not. It does not remind you of anything that you know of the heraldry of Westgate. Stung with your what you said.
14.
14. 14. The figure was slight, wiry, maybe, and you recognize the voice as maybe an elven voice.
Okay.
But that's really all you got out of it.
Okay.
You're
I'll
not
tell my
sure of
friends.
any elves who run around in wolf masks with tattered red cloaks.
Did you say red cloak?
It was a red cloak with, you're pretty sure you saw blood stains on it.
Was it a red riding cloak?
That's what I was just saying. Riding
It
hood.
might have been, that entity might have been the illegitimate child. Okay. And the D&D game became some kind of Witcher thing. Okay, so
Aren't the Fae and wizards in red always?
yes. So Kaylin says, "So, where are you off to next?" And then we'll cut back to the tower. So Mirren teleports you into the garden in front of her tower. So the garden is populated by gigantic flowers and topiaries and fountains, numerous fountains. Most courtyards have a single fountain that everything kind of focuses around. Mirren's has at least 7 fountains that seem to be scattered in a kind of asymmetric pattern that doesn't immediately make sense. And they are all flowing with bright blue and silver water. And she says, "Oh, ooh, that's so refreshing. I mean, the teleportating. Do you need anything? Are you sick? Sometimes folk become nauseated."
No, feel good.
Here we go then. She leads you up the steps to her small keep. So it's a black stone keep with a wide central room that has a big circle in the middle that's open to the sky. In the middle of the common room sits a it looks like a gazebo basically, with divans that people can sit on. And you know and can see now that it is floating slightly off the floor. And there is one slightly leaning crooked tower attached to the keep. And the walls of this inner room are full of books. Even though it is open to the elements, the books don't seem adversely affected. And Mirren says, "Here's my library. You are welcome to look at whatever you like.
All right, bye guys.
But that's the demon section over there. That's the necromancy section over there."
You are here for a reason. You are helping me first. Don't touch those.
Her wings are like fluttering. With
Okay, let's,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I have
should
a-
focus.
don't make me bring out spooky Tsetseliya.
I have a very fine collection of epic elven poetry, if you wish. That's very entertaining. I think I might read some of that while you research. Or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help you.
I mean, if you can narrow down where we should be looking.
You seem to
Oh,
you
about
seem
the
to know
brand.
it.
I
Yeah.
totally forgot. It was only a few moments ago, but I totally forgot. That is probably... she floats up as though not really thinking about it, just kind of like subconsciously, to the second story of books. There are no ladders or anything. She just floats up to it.
It'll be
and
fine.
starts
You can
perusing
fly to
books.
what you need.
Yes.
So you see
think
Mirren
of it.
Seneschal, the blind dwarf Eliver, comes over to you holding this tray with 2 cups of tea on it.
She'll take a cup of tea. It's a long night.
We'll take the other.
Lots of adrenaline bursts.
And he nods and then walks away, and sets the tray with more. There's a teapot, right, for more tea, on the one of the tables in the center of the room.
Thank you.
He nods.
Watching Mirren.
Yep. She's floating around with her blue robes kind of fluttering around her, and picks up one book and tosses it behind her, and it ends up on the same table next to the tea, with enough force that it knocks the tea pot like nearer to the edge of the table.
I'm gonna go pick that teapot
And then
up.
she hurls another book, and it lands, boom, and knocks the teapot a little closer to the edge, and it starts, and then Tsetseliya picks it up.
I was gonna say, can I go grab the teapot? 'Cause
Yeah, you caught it just before it fell.
Okay. My dex is not great, but before that second hit.
Okay. So, tell me what you're researching, and then I will have you make a skill check. Calith.
Calith is going to look for, just go look through the books for any mention of a demon with 6 fingers.
Great. That's going to be an Arcana check. You can make it with advantage because this is a very complete library.
25.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
Is her brain still tingly, or does that get stripped away?
Her brain's tingling like
Her
crazy.
brain is still tingling. Tsetseliya, are you waiting for Mirren's help, or are you going to research something yourself?
Are you implying I don't know how to research stuff? Definitely witches research stuff, I'm pretty sure. But I will just take these books that Mirren has thrown down and
Excellent.
start going through them for anything related to 6-fingered demons, or how to tell if someone is controlling a demon, or antlers. That was a thing I almost forgot.
Okay, I'm going to need you to make an Arcana check with advantage.
Oh, I get advantage. Ooh, lucky me. Very lucky me. Ooh, except for I rolled real crap. Okay, hang on. That's going to be a 10.
Here's a new die for you too.
That's gonna be a 10. All right, so you're looking through it, and you are distracted by the very vibrant pictures of numerous demon lords and
Very alarming.
very, very alarming pictures. And it seems like each one that you read is worse than the previous one. Right, like you turn to the section on Demogorgon,
Oh no.
and you're like, oh, that's terrible. And then you turn to the section on Orcus, and you're like, oh no, that's even worse. And you are thanking your lucky stars that you did not make a pact with one of those entities.
Who made a pact?
Indeed.
Is this like going to Wikipedia and you just keep clicking link after link and just
It
getting
kind of is.
totally lost?
All right, with your 25, Calith, you happen across a dusty tome that catches your eye because it has a little like gold on the edge, on the spine, and when you pull it out, the gold kind of fades away, like maybe it was dust or something on the book. And you look at it, and it has a pretty plain black leather cover of this book, and it's obviously very, very old. And when you open it, you find that it is about House Dlardregeth, which is the demon fae of Faerun.
Quick question: does the leather seem like normal leather, or is it like human
Quick answer,
leather?
no.
Okay. So
It
it's
always a good
definitely
sign.
does not feel like normal leather.
And it says Necronomicon.
Yeah.
So, Tsetseliya, you are reading about this entity called
Lotion on the skin.
Fraz Erblu.
Oh no, not that one.
And how are you reacting to this cavalcade of horrors?
I don't want to do any of this. Can we just cut it off? Marin, can you cut this off?
She says, "No, I can try and dispel it, but that might kill you."
Okay,
And she
maybe-
tosses another book.
She's just looking at this demon lord, looking at her arm, thinking about the odds.
Hey,
So,
Tsetseliya.
Caliph, you're looking at this book. Thousands of years ago, an ancient elven house interbred with demons to increase its own power
Oh, cool.
and strengthen its bloodline.
Like you do.
Just hold up the book and be like, this could go wrong.
This led to numerous wars within the ancient elven empires and the fall of a couple of major elven realms. And the demon fae were locked away in a great magical prison beneath what is referred to as Arkaror, or Hellgate Keep, is what there's this parenthetical note that someone has made.
Snappy.
So like an abyssal realm.
Well, Hellgate Keep, you happen to know, because you are very well read, is an actual place in Faerun. It is a destroyed place in Faerun, because apparently some great magical calamity happened a century ago and destroyed the keep, possibly breaching the prison.
Do I know
The
where
book
it is?
does not go into that because it doesn't go that far. It's only talking about ancient history.
Do I know where this place is?
You do know where this place is.
Is it near?
Let me look at the information.
Meanwhile, Tsetseliya.
Meanwhile, you tell that all to Tsetseliya.
Do they think 6 fingers? Or antlers or what?
I mean, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I saw gold on this. Yeah, that sort of gold. I mean, it was there and it faded away. It was almost like it's trying to catch my attention.
Oh, that's creepy. Maybe put it back.
Sorry, I said the wrong thing. The ancient city is actually called Askelhorn, not Arkaror. That's a different thing.
Okay.
Arkaror is another name that was in the
Can't
This is a
believe.
very understandable mistake, I gotta say.
very, very understandable mistake. Okay.
Anyways, feel this real quick. Tell me what you think it feels like.
Like leather? Feels like leather?
Okay.
What is it?
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think it's leather. I don't think it's cow leather.
Oh my god, Caleb, why do you know?
No, it doesn't feel the same.
Been hanging around Aiden too long.
Okay, but like, where are you going that you're feeling not cow leather? And I don't think we're talking about like goats, I'm guessing. Okay, Artemisia told me not to tell you to break up with Aiden, but is Aiden making you touch people leather? Because ew.
Some friends have heart-to-hearts, and then there's this.
This location is far
subtlety
removed,
incarnate.
far removed from Westgate. You could go there, but it would be a journey of several 10 days.
Oh, we
at
might
the
have to
least.
fly there.
Kayla's gonna change the subject. It's like, so, anyways, about this place,
Okay,
we might need to take a journey. It's some distance away.
okay. And is there anything in here that actually connects, besides the weird gold thing, because Tsetseliya is now on sort of high alert for sneaky happenings. Is there information in here that connects to those other details, like the
Keep reading. Yeah.
or does Tsetseliya kind of remember the entity in the? I keep wanting to call you a hell portal, and it's not. I gotta break myself of this habit. The abyssal portal, being kind of elf-like or something.
It sounds true, like it rings true to you, and you're not really sure why. But you do recall the demon having kind of like elven characteristics.
And he doesn't look like any of these guys. Thank goodness.
There are illustrations in the book And they depict mostly elf-looking creatures with kind of demonic features. One of them is an elven woman. It's titled Saria Delardregeth, who has wings like the omnibus that you met. Omnibus is the term that we use for succubi and incubi. There's another one that is an elf with multiple arms, two of which are like claw-like arms, and that one says Zolf under it.
You keep flipping, looking for one that's got antlers and a bad sense of personal space.
You do, in fact, see a illustration of a fey-like demon with antlers.
Does this fey-like demon also have 6 fingers?
Well, the page is partly torn.
Oh.
The one hand you can see does indeed have 6 fingers.
Okay. Is there a name on here? Or is the name ripped off?
That's the torn part.
Oh.
And you are looking at this discovery as mist starts seeping into the tower.
Oh. I'm gonna prep some Eldritch Blast over here.
Mirren's like, is that you?
That's not me. Why?
So can I interject from far away? Because I think Stong would. So I have this new spell that I got.
Oh my gosh.
For this level.
That's
it's
true.
called Sending, and basically what it does is it turns me into like the smartphone of the realms. In that anyone that I'm familiar with at any distance, I could send them up to 25 words, and they could respond back to me in 25 words. So after Red Riding Hood appeared in front of us,
That's going to be the nickname, isn't it?
maybe. Who knows?
Red Riding Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to like put my fingers to my head and close my eyes, and then focus on my best friend Tsetseliya, and I'm gonna say,
Her visage comes to your mind.
yeah, I'm gonna send a mysterious figure in Red Riding Hood appeared in mist, possibly elven. Friend? Foe? Unknown. Over. Eagle.
You have more words.
That's 16
technically.
words.
You know, I
spell-
just got it.
Now, the spell sends
Lover
the
of
next
brevity.
9 words that he says.
Yeah. So if you said,
So you
"Oh,
finish
God,"
your spell. You
We'll
finish
see
your
what I
spell.
say
What
next.
else do you say?
Oh, we'll see in the next
I
scene.
can't respond. No, that's
No, it
I
doesn't
can't
get sent
respond.
until you
Oh.
do the 25
Yeah.
words.
I guess I have 9 more words to say. So here are. Oh wait,
It just cuts off.
Yeah.
9. Okay,
9 more words.
so you get that message.
You saw a what? Why are you telling me this? I have some weird mist to deal with. Bring me home a sandwich, please.
I order one from the barkeep immediately. Okay.
Okay. Yes, the mist
I
grows.
still have one word because I counted sandwiches too.
Yeah, that's right. So what's your next
Then
word?
I say, Caliph! And that's it. And I say, Caliph, get ready!
The mist grows and deepens, and a figure appears in the mist. You have Eldritch Blast ready.
Kalith is totally unprepared. She's been
Kayla is
facing the
like,
book.
like licking the leather.
you just,
Maybe not.
Tastes like human.
are you just reading the book and you don't even notice the mist?
Well, she notices when Cecilia yells her name, but she's like, oh, "What? Oh, right."
Mirren
So
looks
she's
down
not like prepared.
that shouldn't be happening.
Is this a friend of yours?
And the mist coalesces into a figure, a slight, lithe figure in a red, tattered cape, who turns to you and has this wolf mask. It's actually a skull of a wolf.
Oh, how does Jiggle Wolf take this?
Don't look at it.
Jigawolf is nowhere to be seen.
What?
He has run away.
Well, that's bad news.
And the man, you're pretty sure it's a man, holding this curved sword. It looks a bit similar to Kalis Armathor's sword, although obviously very old and battered. Steps out of the mist and goes, "Ha! Finally, emissary, I have found you."
Oh no. I'm gonna take out one Eldritch Blast. I'm a little busy, and I don't know you.
Ah, my mistake then. He drops to one knee and bows eloquently to you. And he says, I am Saorisen, the knight of Haranawachu, and I have come from far, far to obey our mistress's will.
I'm gonna shake out the other one. I'm gonna get up close and be like, we don't need to talk about that. We don't need to talk about that very loud.
He looks at the other two figures
Be
in the
like,
room.
I'm gonna take this in the garden.
And he goes,
Bustle Sargent out to the garden.
all right. you push him out of the garden. He says, wanting to separate me immediately. I see. He sheathes the sword again.
That's good. I forgot the sword in my rush to get him out of there.
Yes.
What do you want?
I wanted to meet you, of course. You are my counterpart, after all.
I'm sorry, your counterpart?
Yes. Haranawachu has an emissary and a knight. I am the knight. You are the emissary.
Tsetseliya is vaguely remembering this conversation and going, dang, I wish I had paid more attention. Okay, I'm the emissary and you're the knight.
I have been searching for you. I followed a signature I thought was similar to yours, but I did not find you where I looked first.
Oh, Tsetseliya is realizing Song is talking about this guy and this guy is talking about Artemisia. Ooh, your
Says,
mistake.
I'm sorry. Is this troubling you? He pulls back the wolf skull mask. And
Weirdly,
he's
that was not the most upsetting thing to Tsetseliya.
he has slightly vulpine elven features and very bright red hair. And he says, my apologies. I have been fighting for quite some time. You can see how my left arm is hanging loosely at my side. He hits it.
Oh.
You don't happen to know healing magic, do you?
I do not.
Pity.
Do I know if
He
Caleb
he puts his hand on his arm, and you see kind of reddish energy flows into his arm, and he goes, that's better.
Did you just ask me that question so you could set up you showing off?
No, I asked you that question to preserve my own resources. I have a limited pool of healing.
Gotcha. Okay.
I am a knight. I did mention that, yes?
You said it a couple times.
Somehow, you were not what I expected.
Same?
So you expected me.
No, that's the part I didn't expect. Or rather, it came up that there would be a night, and I kind of just thought I was on me time.
Yes, well, I have no particular orders for you from our mistress.
That's good, because she did say I could have a break.
Indeed.
Things
But-
seemed like they were sort of quieting down a little bit.
Our paths have crossed.
Indeed. Are they likely to cross a lot?
It depends.
So we gotta tell you, if you're gonna come around, maybe don't show up in a big cloud of mist with a wolf skull. People don't around here, they're not into this.
He looks confusedly at you.
Just, keep it chill.
You realize that he is wearing a red wizard robe that he
don't
has
like
turned
it.
into a cloak.
Okay, wait. I recognize this, because sometimes on the battlefield, you find useful stuff and you repurpose it. You take things from Red Wizard pockets and you give them to your friends as souvenirs.
And you realize that underneath that,
Bag of
he's
tea.
just wearing like red pants and really nothing else.
Oh, I
You
feel
know
like
someone
I
who
should.
could help
I
with
know.
this.
Better
but,
than a
like,
red
can I
shirt
tell
and
him to
nothing
go?
That's
Do
true.
you need like a set of clothes?
Is that something that the folk of this city
They do.
care about?
If you walk around like this, people are going to give you money to do things that are not night things. And I don't want to know
What
your
sort of
business,
things?
It's gonna be a coin board.
but
I might be interested, I might not.
that's fair. But maybe you want options.
Fair enough.
I know someone who can get you a suit of clothes, but if you're gonna just head on back,
Oh, I can't head back until I've completed my mission, of course.
what's your mission?
Well, I'm to find a deserter.
Oh,
Not you, of course. You're here on break, as you so put it.
me time. What kind of deserter?
It's not important unless you wish to join me in my quest.
I mean, I'm not joining a quest I don't understand.
Well,
so.
I see we're at an impasse then.
Pretty much.
A dangerous deserter who no doubt means very ill for the folk of the city.
Huh. Can I make an insight check to see if I know
Yeah,
what he's talking about?
sure.
Because I think Aaron knows, but Tsetseliya... rolled a 20!
That's
So,
the same
okay.
die I rolled a 20 on earlier.
Thank
They're not
you.
loaded.
So that should be a 25.
25.
Wow. Yeah, you connect the fact that the wolf scampered out of the room to him saying he is here for a deserter, meaning that he is here to get that wolf.
Nice.
And he says, he smiles at you with his slightly fangy teeth, and he says, I should be very pleased with those clothes. Please show me to where I can obtain clothes.
Okay. I have to go in and tell. Actually, I take it back. They're closed right now. They're actually. Well, it's complicated. They do this thing where they have a shop. I assume we're talking in Elvish too. Or
Yeah.
Sylvan or
Well,
whatever.
he speaks in Elven
Yeah.
with that kind of
The weird elves.
Lithari
Yeah, the weird elves that
pronunciation.
Tsetseliya met.
That's right.
Not paying that close attention. Anyway.
You understand because you spent a lot of time on
Yeah,
them.
I speak those things. I'm just checking, but I'm also explaining that that sometimes people here who are like merchants that sell things, they sell one thing in the day and they sell something else at night.
They
And
sell things.
They sell things. You give them metal, they
So
give
it's
you
a-
stuff.
It's barter.
Yeah.
Very well.
Okay, so in the morning, the shop will be selling clothes.
He seems to sort of understand what you're saying.
All right, and then I'm gonna take out a scrap paper, write down the address of the silk. What is it? Silks and what's our Indonesian shop called?
It's
Dawn.
called
Silks at Dawn, thank you.
several different things. During the day, it's called the Silks at Dawn.
That's what I'm going for. So I write down the address of Silks at Dawn.
Many folk in the city refer to it as the Dawn and Dusk because it's two different places.
So I write down the name and I write down the address. Write it in Common, I write it in Elvish. And I give it to him. And I say, okay, you go back to the city.
Okay, he takes it and he immediately bites a chunk out of the paper.
Oh my god, you can't do that.
It says, very fibrous.
I don't know what kind of gifts she's given you to do stuff, so I'm going to trust that you understand what to do with this right now.
Yes, you have given me a gift, and thus I am in your debt.
Oh my goodness. Cecilia is
I shall accompany you until I have discharged this debt.
Sorry, you can't do that.
I have to, though.
It's inappropriate. In this city, it is inappropriate
I think
because you are not related to me, and I am unmarried, and therefore you need to go about your business somewhere else.
Oh, you're unmarried.
Nobody invited you.
This is gonna go well.
I did not agree to this. He says,
That is not the solution here. I'm saying go somewhere else because I don't need it. I don't need your company right now.
are you turning me away?
I'm telling you, go find a hotel.
Very well. I shall find lodgings of my own.
Okay,
I shall call upon you in the morning.
that sounds like a great plan. I will meet you at the Silks at Dawn. The piece of paper I just gave you has words on it. Can you read the words or read them with your mouth, I guess? I'm not sure what happened there.
I do know how to read, yes.
Just checking.
I have
don't
traveled.
I don't judge.
Very well.
Our pool boy doesn't know how to read. I like him fine.
This has been an excellent meeting. I look forward to seeing you again.
Good. Okay.
He reaches for your hand. Do you give him your hand?
Ooh. I feel like I should make another insight check. What's the vibe? The vibe there is a 20, but not a natural 20.
Well, he doesn't seem to be offering you any threat.
Okay. The last time someone grabbed Tsetseliya's hand, like this has made an impression. I'm just gonna say. All right, we're gonna shake hands.
He presses your hand to his cheek,
Whoa.
You can't do these things.
and then he says, "I shall see you anon." And then he steps away, and he's like, I have exhausted my magic. And then he just starts, he says, do you know where the gate is?
Points to the
He
gate.
starts walking away.
Okay. Okay. Oh no, this is very weird and bad. I'm gonna go back in and look around for Jigglewolf.
So Mirren is like,
Don't make that face!
what face?
That face!
I don't know how Caliph is reacting.
Krana, what?
Nothing. That's my cousin. Just, it doesn't matter. Where's Jigglewolf?
Your cousin does this?
Why were you eavesdropping?
I wasn't eavesdropping, but I was looking out the window.
Eavesdropping? I was watching you.
Listen, I'm sure you have lots of fascinating Varial customs, and I don't crawl up your business trying to figure out why you do those things, like, you know, have wings and not fly.
So that's a Rashemi thing, is
Yeah.
it?
Mirren says that's not a Rashemi thing.
No, you're right. It's probably from my mom, the elf one.
Yeah, it might be. Don't you ask her constantly if she can fly?
Yeah, she never does it.
Fair enough.
As far as
He seemed nice.
all you know is that you've never seen me fly.
That's true.
That's
You don't do it
true.
because I ask. Now, does anyone know what happened to the wolf?
So the wolf pads up to you out of the darkness, out of the shadows of the corner.
You are in trouble. I say in wolf talk.
The wolf kind of whimpers toward you.
That guy wants to bring you back.
Maybe wear him on his face.
The wolf looks agitated.
Yeah, we have a big problem here.
And with that, I think we're going to close for the evening. So, tune in next week to see the continuing search for this ghost city of Frost. Tune in next week to see further oddities unfolding with the recently arrived knight of Haranawachu, Heart of the Piercing. Find out more about Jigglewolf. I mean, the wolf. I mean, whatever Tsetseliya is calling the wolf these days.
Jigs.
I mean,
Jigs.
we have compromised to jigs, but
Thank you
Feet
to
top.
my players for putting up with this slight wackiness. Thank you to Gen Con for hosting us here at Chaldea. Thank you to Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Thank you to Randy for putting together our merch stuff. Keep an eye on that because it's unfolding. And thank you to you, our lovely audience. If it weren't for you, we'd just be here throwing dice at each other. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.
bye.